Welcome to episode 205 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary. Happy New Year.
Happy. We're starting this over because my computer froze. And now we're doing this all over again.
We're doing it all over again.
We were only 5 minutes in, but it was enough. It was enough.
Yes.
I went to the movies. We had the Christmas. The kids are all good for Christmas.
Happy.
We don't need to review that.
No.
You don't need to hear that again. You don't need to hear it. Well, who cares? It doesn't matter. I saw Wonka. I saw Iron Claw. Fantastic, both movies. And I think tomorrow I'm going to go see Poor Things. You know, you got to get to the movies when these Academy-nominated, could be Academy-nominated movies are in the theater.
Oh.
You got to get to them.
What's that? What's Poor Things?
Poor Things has Emma Stone and what's that cutie guy who plays the Hulk?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see his face.
My daughter thought she saw him at Publix a couple weeks ago. She's following this guy around and she was like, this is Mark Ruffalo. And I was like, did you take a picture? I gave her my phone. I'm like, go take a picture. And she swore it was him and then she couldn't find him again.
Oh, no. So cute.
Oh my God, it's adorable. So yeah, good movies are coming out. Watching good movies. I want to see Ferrari. You know, I love that Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And
I love Adam Driver.
Yeah. Did you ever see that Gucci movie with the... Did I just ask you this or maybe I asked my mother? The Gucci... When he made Gucci, the House of Gucci with Lady Gaga?
I never saw that.
Bro, you should watch that. Al Pacino's in it.
What?
Oh,
yeah. No, I've never seen it. I need to see it.
It's all about the Gucci in the beginning and this guy taking over.
Maybe this
it's
is
so
what
good.
I'll do later. I watched that movie you recommended.
Oh.
Leave the World Behind.
Oh, what'd you think?
And then when I got home, I was, I looked it up and I go, wait a minute. I read this book.
Okay.
I read the book earlier this year and had completely forgotten.
Like the dystopian... Remember you were telling Alfredo and I in the last episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the movie?
I liked it.
What did your husband watch it?
Yes. He was not happy with the ending.
Yeah, no. Well, you don't get to see...
But you know what's happened. Like, you don't need to see it. I don't feel like you need to see it.
No, and here's another one that's coming out.
And I don't believe... I can't remember if the Friends thing was a big thing or not in the... And they cut out some stuff. They cut out some stuff, with the son. I don't want to spoil it, but in the book, he's like... There's a whole period where he's like very sick before all that stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
And not very sick, but like they cut it down. They got to cut some stuff
down. So now there's a trailer out for a movie called Civil Wars.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you that these are all. I believe these things are going to happen. Okay, they're going to happen.
That movie. I think the thing that's scary about the Leave the World Behind is that I feel like that's kind of how things would happen. Like things will just stop working. That we're completely isolated, unprepared, and no one is gonna help.
No phone, no internet.
Yeah.
Now what?
I mean, remember they don't show it. They show a little bit in the movie, but like in the book, he gets really lost. Like he keeps passing the same place kind of over and over, and like he doesn't think he's gonna make it back to the house because like he's like there's no GPS,
right?
Because we're so dependent now.
Oh yeah.
Who knows how to read a map?
Girl, it's...
No one knows how to read a map anymore.
A mess. And then...
I could barely read a map.
This Civil Wars... This Civil Wars movie... It's about that. It's about the... What does the guy say in the trailer? The forces of California and Texas, which means those two have seceded, and have their own armies, and are now... They start moving towards D.C. to take over D.C. You know? And then at one point, these people were held at gunpoint by this guy in ammo, and he's wearing these red sunglasses, and they're like, we're Americans! And he goes, what kind of American?
Oh my God.
What? What? I'm telling you, this is what I'm afraid of.
Me too.
So, take it as a warning.
Yeah. Speaking of Civil War.
Yeah.
One of the things in the news that I have been finding very interesting is Trump being taken off the ballot.
Oh, girl,
Trump off the ballot in Colorado. Trump off the ballot now in Maine.
Maybe states he wouldn't have won anyway.
Right.
But
still,
all you need is one of these states to take it.
And then the Maine Secretary of State now is being threatened with impeachment.
Of course. But I think it's a court. It needs to go like maybe they'll. In Colorado, went to the courts, and the Supreme Court in Colorado said he's off the ballot. Yeah. So someone will challenge whatever happened in Maine, maybe the Secretary of State, and then I'll go to the court there. But Michigan went through the same process, and they kept him on. So, I guess it depends on where you're at.
And it depends on who's running the...
Yeah. I'm here for it. I agree. I'm sorry. I saw a great meme, and it was somebody in a MAGA hat, and he was looking at him, and it's like, the evidence against Trump, crimes he's been charged with, and he's like looking at it, and he goes, how could this be? Yeah. He's crying because he can't, I don't agree with he doesn't believe the charges, but these are real things. The man is a criminal. Forget everything else. All you need to know that this man should not be reelected and not be put on a ballot as an option to be president again is the January 6th insurrection. That's the reason why he's coming off the ballot. The man tried to overturn the government, tried to overturn an election.
We talked about it before, where he said it once about how he'd be a dictator for a day. Now he keeps saying it.
Right, because it gets traction.
So,
and it's not,
I'm sorry.
It's not funny. It's not
funny. I don't know what anybody is thinking who was like, this is a good option. And then I had someone ask me the other day about DeSantis. Ugh. Well, you can't tell me one good thing that DeSantis has done? No, I can't.
Well, okay, I can.
Okay.
Because I benefited from it. And that's the home program. But he didn't create the home to harden your home. My Safe Florida Home.
Yeah.
He signed it. He didn't write it. He didn't create it. He signed it. That's all he's done.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's other things you can point to. I'm sure there are. But when there's an overwhelming list of terrible, awful fucking things.
I went through the list. I mean, I started with, our reproductive rights.
Yeah, so that's where it starts. Would I rather have this for my house or reproductive rights? Would I rather have my kids have all the education they're supposed to get with quality teachers who are being paid what they should be paid? Or would I rather have affordable homeowners insurance? Or yes!
Yeah.
There's no comparison. He's taken away and done more damage than he's done good. And when you look at, this is the craziest thing about DeSantis now too, is that all the things he was against as a governor, not taking federal money for
that's all
homeowners
all coming back to hurt us.
Now, I don't know if you saw this, but now the home energy rebates.
He wants it. He wants it back.
Now he's changed his mind.
Yeah.
And this fucking dumb Nikki Haley, who I got to tell you,
with her slavery,
the self-hatred this woman has for herself, as she's not white. Nikki Haley, you're not white. Your parents are Indian. Do you know what I'm saying? They immigrated here.
Right.
Girl. And you don't want to talk about slavery and people of color? That's fucked. That's fucked. And then DeSantis gets on a mic yesterday and starts to drag Nikki Haley because she doesn't want to say the Civil War's about slavery. Yeah. This is a man trying to erase Black history, including slavery. He approved of an education plan that teaches our children today in school that slavery benefited Black people.
Yep.
That Frederick Douglass was like, hey, but we learned how to weld, so we're all good. This is what this man thinks about slavery, and he's trying to drag Nikki Haley. Bro.
He needs to go read Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass because there's nothing about benefiting in there.
Motherfucker needs to sit down. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. And by the way, this is the gotcha. And the gotcha question for the Republican candidates are, what was Civil War about? Oh, really? We're going back to this now? Y'all, come on. This is fucked. And I don't even know what more about our podcast is more relevant than that conversation. Talking about history and the way that, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to go through these stories and see it all over again. And
to see DeSantis, like you said, who has been attacking our education system.
Unbelievable.
Because, at the end of the day, what does he want? He wants to trash our public schools, So then our public schools fail. So then some Yahoo can come and buy it out as a charter school and make a shit ton of money.
Somebody who's
off of people.
Someone who's one of his supporters who's giving him money.
Yeah, it's so he's destroying our university system. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He's destroying our state.
When you do
he's attacking our moneymaker Disney, like it's just one bad move after the next.
That's the other thing. He asked that federal court to drop that case. And Disney's digging their heels in and saying, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
And they're not only that, they're adding things to the lawsuit every day about Reedy Creek. I mean, they were directly punished because they said something the governor didn't agree with and pushed back on his don't say gay, bigoted motherfucking shit in 2023. 2023! He's a fucking bigot. And he thinks companies aren't going to say, fuck you. Disney, like they said in their lawsuit, they have to do this. Because there's smaller companies that are being destroyed because of this bullshit, and they can't stand up for themselves. So Disney's got to do it, and they'll continue to fight, and they'll win that case. They'll win the case. He's a fucking monster.
And how much? I can't wait at the end to see how much money this case with Disney is costing our state.
I would love to see
every single case.
I want to know all of it.
Yeah, what is the grand total that this idiot has cost us? And he's going to ride out these next 2 years and be even worse than before. Because he's going to come back a loser.
Fuck.
And he's going to be pissed off at everybody.
Yeah.
And he's just going to destroy. And then somebody had the nerve to say, well, what about our paisan DeSantis?
Yeah, well.
He's not my paisan.
I got to tell you, there's always a bad apple in the bunch. All right? And you think that his family's proud of this? There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
I don't know.
He's a fucking embarrassment.
Italy, it can lean
he's an embarrassment.
Negative way sometimes.
Well, I'm sorry. No. And how much is he even like claim paisan?
There's he may be from a very close region, if not the same exact area.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Well, my favorite thing about DeSantis is now every article you're reading is about when is he going to drop out, because his staff of the campaign is fleeing as if it's on fire. Yeah. They're running. They're quitting left and right. So I guess we'll see what happens. And we know that he doesn't have a great staff because they let him walk on stage with those fucking boots every day.
He's every still day. Wearing those boots.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
Also, like, how embarrassing to be in the spotlight like this. Aren't you embarrassed, sir? Aren't you embarrassed of this? Ugh, fucking gross.
So gross.
Okay, here's the thing. So we talked on the last podcast about how SCOTUS was being asked by Jack Smith to give a speedy answer on whether Trump could be charged with crimes that he committed while he was president, and asked for it to be speedy so that he could get that case going. Mm-hmm. And SCOTUS came back before Christmas and was like, nah, we'll give you an answer, but it's not going to be fast.
Yeah.
So kind of back where we started, where it's playing a waiting game. And the point is, we are at a race to save democracy. That's why Jack Smith asked for that, because he's trying to get this man on trial to get a guilty verdict, hopefully, knock on wood, I don't see how you can't, and so he will not be allowed on the ballot. Or if he is on the ballot, he's got this fucking thing hanging around his neck that he committed these crimes as president to destroy the country.
Right.
He made these choices on his own with others. Mark Meadows is one of the witnesses. His chief of staff is working with the prosecution. He's going down. And so we need to, just like Comey with the letter about Clinton, remember that?
Yes.
This is very important. It will sway voters. And more importantly than voters of like Biden versus Trump, who will win, we are trying to save the country. Yeah, this is a real fucking thing that's happening.
That's what I was asked too recently. You're actually going to vote for Biden? And we've said it before, it's not like we're like the biggest fans of Biden, but Biden has done a lot. And I rattled off all the things that he has done for the economy, like things that maybe more conservative-leaning people might have an interest in, and it was just like, well, the age. I'm like, I get it, but there are two choices. That we're either going to be under a dictatorship or not. That's it.
It is unfortunate.
Are there plenty other people that could have been a stellar candidate for the Democratic Party? Absolutely.
No one's going to fight that argument. That's a fucking losing argument, of course.
But right now, you know, and then you have that Yahoo Nikki Haley too saying that she would pardon.
Yo!
She would pardon Trump.
Yo! I read that this morning. This is what we're talking about.
Like,
this is what we're talking for the good of the country. He should have amnesty, is what she said. That's the quote.
But thank God he's got those state charges, because she wouldn't be able to pardon anything that he's arrested for on the state level.
Let me tell you, she's a fucking wolf. She's trying to come across as
moderate.
She's middle of the road. No. She's a goddamn demon. Yeah. She's a demon. She's a demon.
She says that she works well with Trump. Like, that alone should tell you something.
And can I say something else? And I know I'm going to get some shit on our YouTube probably, because I'll talk about a comment on our YouTube this week. But why can't she talk with her teeth straight? She talks like this. Everything's like this. Her teeth are together. Have you seen that?
She's clenched.
She's clenched. She's everything's like this.
Girl, relax. Go get us some tea. Go get.
But that's what happens when you have a demon inside of you. We'll stop at nothing.
Demon Slayer. We got to put the
She'll stop at nothing to win. And I've never seen somebody fight so hard for second place. And the same thing with her and DeSantis. They are betting on Trump being in jail and will not be available to be president. Right. That's what they're hoping. And I got to tell you, Nikki, the Trump voters, DeSantis is their cup of tea.
Yeah, not you.
You know, they'll vote for DeSantis. They won't like it, but they'll do it. Because he talks their kind of crazy. And you don't.
I bet you she will, though. If she needs to.
Ooh, I mean, I don't know how she hasn't already. The girl's from South Carolina, and she can't say slavery. You can't say it. You're from South Carolina. Your families are people of color. Betrayal. You're betraying yourself.
Yeah.
Just to become president. When somebody wants to do that, you guys, that's a red flag, and we don't vote for them.
Nope.
She's betraying her very being. Her parents, y'all. Her parents. I'm sorry. That's fucking red flag. Giant red flag. Y'all, no. No. There's something fucking wrong there. All right, so that's Trump. I might as well just say this then, since I just brought it up. So we had a comment. I don't know if it's a real person. I don't know. I can't tell what's happening online. Okay.
What happened?
So this person commented. You know what? I'm gonna go right on our YouTube. Go to youtube.com. And then you Google search the Muck Podcast, or not Google search, but search. Let me find the comments. This person wrote, "Never make fun of how other people look, or you invite the world to behave terribly, using people's appearance that they are genetically stuck with as something to ridicule, just like Trump does. It's a juvenile behavior, and it's pitiful. Stop doing it. Just stop." Again, I don't know if this person's real. It's a cartoon picture. I have no idea. But thank you for the download, first of all. Thanks for the view, because we love this. But also, and I responded to it.
What is this to?
Okay, so this was on our wrap-up special, which we talked about DeSantis and we talked about Mike Johnson. About what they look like. I talked about Mike Johnson. I think all three of us were talking about DeSantis and his boots and like the way he looks. Okay, whatever. I did specifically say Mike Johnson looks like a 14-year-old boy, and there's something wrong with that. But let me say, this was my response online personally from my thing and not from the Muck. But here's the thing, like, these are two people who have devastated people's lives with their policies.
Right.
Mike Johnson, if you're a woman, whoever's responding and who can tell, he wants you to just lay down and have babies.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And be in the kitchen and serve your man.
You have no rights.
Yeah.
You have no rights. There's biblical rule. I go look at the Bible if you want to see how women were treated. Okay? Mm-hmm. This is who we're talking about. We're going to talk about the way they look. Yeah. We're going to talk about the way they sound.
Yeah.
We're going to ridicule them till the day is over. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
There are plenty of political.
Who cares?
Yeah. There's plenty of political podcasts who will never comment about that. There are. Go on.
We don't care.
Nobody's looking for this.
Do you think Mike Johnson even cares that we're calling him a little boy? No.
By the way, he wants to look that way, and again I ask, why are we not talking about this?
Yeah,
it's fucking wild to me.
Yeah.
There's something
I think it's like...
It's a sexual weird thing. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Yeah.
There's something very odd about a grown man who wants to look very young. He has a dewy thing on his skin.
It's like innocence, this...
Yeah, this apple red cheeks and these big eyes. There's something fucking weird happening there. Okay? Believe me. I got a nose for kink. Okay? I got a nose for kink.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, my last thing. If you have, do you have something else?
No. Oh, I do. I have one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to talk about the House in Florida. The ethics committee is looking into a Florida Dem. Sheila.
Oh no, that's the U.S. House is doing that.
Oh yeah. The U.S. House for Sheila McCormick.
Yeah.
And it has to do, of course, with campaign finance law. We cover stories on the Muck all the time about this, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
To see how this is going to play out.
Her campaign said it's not a big deal. We're cooperating, so we'll see.
So hopefully, maybe it's just like a,
But when I read this, when I read the article,
who knows?
Who knows? When I read the article, I thought about, oh God, who had that? I can see his face right now. Who had the seat right before her? Oh, so sorry. Alcee Hastings.
Yes.
Rest in peace. But how he was mired in these investigations.
He was.
Till the day he died.
It's true.
He had investigations.
Maybe it's something about this seat.
That's what I thought. I was like, maybe this seat's cursed.
Yeah.
I don't know. My last thing is that there's a great arcade here in Broward County called Flynn's Arcade.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about. My son's like, there's this place and it's in Margate, and he showed it to me and I was like, holy shit, it's amazing. You pay $10 when you walk in. It's old school video games they have, and they have a whole back section that has all the PS5 or whatever these things are. Yeah, but of course, we have to hang in the old school. Yes. Bitch, I'm on Galaga.
Ooh, I was doing racing games.
Oh, so fun.
I love a racing game.
We went with Tina and her brother and all of our kids, and we had the best time. And
it was so fun.
It was so fun. And then we went to dinner afterwards. And Tina's oldest son is notoriously quiet, and so is my daughter, because she's always, every time we see you guys, my daughter's like, he never talks. And I'm like, neither do you.
Yeah.
So on the way out there, I was like, no, I don't want to hear about it. You ask questions, try to get in there. Because they're the same age.
They're the same
Meanwhile,
age.
the other two knuckleheads, the younger ones, are like two peas in a pod. They're at the end of the table playing fart noises on the phone. I mean, they're adorable, right? They're adorable.
They were playing games together.
Yeah,
they're just
adorable.
So cute.
So cute. So I asked the oldest, because he just went to New York, as Tina's talked about, with his class. And I was like, yo, how's New York? What'd you think? He's telling me some stories. He's like, we went to Little Italy, I was really upset. I said, what's that? Why? Well, everyone just wanted to eat gelato. So we're standing there eating gelato. He wanted to walk around, of course, because then he says to me, I'm Italian, yeah? And he went like this to me. I'm Italian. It was a little aggressive. And I thought, I said to him, do I know that you're Italian? I sit next to your mother, who every week has to remind me that she's Italian. Like, I know. Woo! Tina's really got that going down. Like, that is we're all aware.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very aware.
He's very aware.
And he's adorable with the hair. I argued with him about the Beatles, about the then and now. I had to bring it up. He goes, what do you, and I said, they used AI on his voice, and he goes, what do you want? He's dead. And I go, yeah, that's where he should stay, and this fucking song should stay there.
Oh my god.
What a beautiful family you have.
Oh god. He
so
just
blessed.
was like just talking.
I loved it. I was so happy. I was like, and of course my daughter was just trying to jump in as she could, but she was thrilled. We left and she was like, yeah, that was so much better. I know. Oh my god, so fun. I'm glad we did that.
So
okay,
fun.
So today it's my turn. We're starting off season 5 of the Muck podcast. Are you ready?
205 season 5. Let's go.
Oh, bitch.
Ooh,
it means something. So today, now let me say something. There's things that happen that are coincidences, and I'm like, all right, well now I've got to do this thing. So Tina talked about the MK Ultra on one of our last episodes. And how not William, but James Whitey Bulger, who is a crime boss in Boston, was in on the jails. They experimented on him with the tripping and the acid. When he was in jail,
early.
Yeah,
you know.
So I found that fascinating. And almost like the next day, I'm listening to my baby boo, Mark Maron, and he mentions the movie Black Mass, starring Johnny Depp. And, because I was listening to his interview with Peter Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard is,
I love this,
by the way, that was a great Mark Maron episode. He's in Black Mass. And so they bring it up, and Mark Maron, he talks about how he loved that movie. And I'm like, how weird that, like, Whitey Bulger's on the podcast, and Mark Maron's talking about it. And I'm like, I've never seen Black Mass. I'm home one night. What's on HBO? Black Mass. And I'm like, I've got to watch it. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. One of the most interesting scenes is the very first scene, and we see Benedict Cumberbatch. Do you know who he is? Yeah. He's playing William Bulger, and he's talking to this FBI agent, John Connolly, who ends up being Whitey Bulger's handler.
Oh.
Like, in the FBI. And they're discussing things, and I realized very quickly, and it's a theme through the movie, William Bulger is Whitey Bulger's brother, James Bulger, who was at the time, and for a very long time, a Massachusetts state senator.
What?
One of the most powerful men in Massachusetts was William Bulger, Whitey Bulger's brother. Like, the same time Whitey Bulger's on the streets, his brother is amassing power in Massachusetts, in Boston.
I know. Do they work together?
No. It's fucking, but I'm getting goosebumps. It's wild. It's
Imagine
wild.
The parents.
Bro, well, they had a bunch of kids, and these two
still, it's crazy. Like, here's your one kid who's like,
and like, so I've since like,
and the bad
I was like, holy shit, because there's a part in the movie which we'll get to how real this movie is, but like, where you see him struggling with this and not knowing what his brother's up to, but keeping a distance, but they're also very close as a family, and so things weren't discussed. But then also, like, we know he's out there committing crimes, but not to the level of like what he was doing.
Wow.
It is wild. And this family dynamic, it fucking blew me away. And I'm like, okay, I'm covering William Bulger on the podcast because the struggle of this man and what he must have been going through, I can't even imagine.
I love this. Who knew that he had a brother in politics?
I had no idea. And here's the other thing. So in doing this story, I saw that
people must have thought, like, are you shady like your brother?
Well, so that's the weirdest part. Yeah. This is why it's so fucking crazy to me. So Boston, like Chicago, is a huge political town, city, right? And so forever, the only Bulger anybody ever knew was William Bulger.
Oh, and then his brother
and everybody knew his brother was a criminal, but it was kind of like joked about, and it was like joked about at the state house and the Senate. Like, it wasn't something that people took seriously. Nobody associated him with his brother like he's also a criminal, because he was such a good guy and he worked so hard and he did amazing fucking things for Boston as their leader for like decades. And so nobody associated until his brother went on the run, and then all of a sudden, like, he had 9 kids, William Bulger, and it's like all his kids were like, oh, are you related to William Bulger? Like, their whole lives was their dad being this thing. And then their uncle goes on the run, and it's like, you're related to, like, now the Bulger name is shit, and they have to deal with that. So there was this documentary that came out in 2021. It's called My Name is Bulger, or something like that. I have them in my notes. It's on HBO right now. It's William Bulger, like, half his kids are in it. They talk about their life. They talk about their dad. They talk about how unfair it was that he was connected to this.
Wow.
And how, almost like to clear his name, this documentary was made, because now he's in his 80s. It is so fucking good. It is so good.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, you can be stained by what a family member does.
Now, that being said, they do, the family... and probably rightly so, because we're talking about Boston. We're talking about an old Irish family. We're talking about South Boston, which is like roots, right? These are people that know each other for generations. And so there's a closeness and there's a loyalty there that they would talk about their uncle in a way that, like, he was accused of things he didn't do. Now, they said Black Mass is like, that's not how it was. That's not how we were like. That's not, it's not like that. So... I don't want to say they're excusing away his crimes, but they're also thinking he wasn't as bad as everybody said he was. Okay?
Maybe he was a notorious crime boss.
Yeah. So I don't know. You got two sides to it where I think William Bulger probably he did amazing things in Boston for the people that live there in Massachusetts, but also he had a loyalty to his brother who was a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a tough situation.
It's a tough situation, but I find it absolutely fascinating.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Fascinating. Okay.
All right.
So, William Bulger's father, James Joseph Bulger Sr., was from Harbor Grace, Newfoundland. And after settling in Everett, Massachusetts, he married Jane Veronica McCarthy, a first-generation Irish immigrant. William Bulger was born in Dorchester, Massachusetts, and is the third of 6 children in the family. And, of course, his younger brother was a former mob boss, James Joseph Whitey Bulger Jr.
Wow.
Bulger's father worked as a union laborer and occasional longshoreman. He lost his arm in an industrial accident, and the family was reduced to poverty. Jesus. In May 1938, when Bulger was 4 years old, the family moved to South Boston's Old Harbor Village housing project soon after it opened. He grew up there and maintained lifelong friendships with many of those who were his former neighbors, including the late Congressman Joe Mockley. Although the Bulger family was poor, William matriculated into Boston College High School, which is a big deal. It's a big deal to get into that high school in Boston. It's a private boys. At the time it was a boys' school, but I think it's both. It's got boys and girls. He enrolled at Boston College in 1952, but his undergraduate career was interrupted when he joined the United States Army. He served from September 1953 to November 1955, then returned to Boston College, completing his undergraduate degree in English literature with the help of the GI Bill. He attended Boston College Law School, from which he received his law degree in 1961.
Wow.
So already, incredible, right? Yeah. Rising from poverty, the projects, blah, 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 blah. It's an incredible thing that he's done. Bulger became interested in politics in 1959 and was first elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives as a Democrat in 1960. After serving 5 terms, Bulger was elected to the Massachusetts State Senate in 1970, representing the 1st Suffolk District. In 1973, he was named second assistant floor majority leader, and after the Senate Majority Leader Joseph DiCarlo's conviction for extortion in 1977, Bulger succeeded him as Senate Majority Leader. He was elected president of the Massachusetts State Senate in 1978 and was reelected every 2 years to 1996. So 18 years he was the president, which is one of the most powerful positions in Massachusetts.
But this is he started in the 60s?
Yeah.
I mean, so he's just a lifelong politician.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But 1978 to 1996, that's also the whole time that his brother is building power in South Boston, Winter Hill, the Winter Hill gang, which he was the head of.
This is wild.
The rise of these two brothers in completely different ways.
It must be weird to go home for the holidays.
Yes, which they would. But they also made, they were saying in the documentary, they made a point to never have pictures taken together. Even when their mother passed away, one would go in the church first and one would come. So they were never seen together.
Wow.
Because and
to protect his political career.
And the girlfriend who took off with Whitey Bulger was interviewed in the documentary, and she said that he just loved his family so much, loved them so much, that he would do anything for his brother. He was so proud of him. So he wasn't offended. Yeah.
Wow.
So he wasn't offended by
But they hung out together, but they just didn't go to public events
always
together.
Behind closed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right?
That's weird.
It's crazy. So, but again, I think at the time the family didn't really understand. They thought he was a bookmaker. You know what I mean? They thought he was fixing the books or you know what I mean, horse racing.
Yeah,
I don't think they really understood
the extent of his power.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, he was elected every 2 years, making his time as state senate president the longest tenure in Massachusetts history.
Wow. Like
other Massachusetts politicians who were elected leaders of their legislative chambers, Bulger was frequently ridiculed in the media but remained very popular in his district. He won his district election every 2 years from 1961 to 1994 without ever facing a challenge more serious than he faced in the Democratic primary in 1988 when Stephen Holt, a liberal activist and bookstore owner from Dorchester, won 31 out of 60 precincts, only to lose the district by a landslide due to his huge turnout of Bulger supporters in South Boston, which is where his family's from, where he had his roots. And so for many years, he hosted the annual St. Patrick's Day breakfast in South Boston, which all the politicians go to, and it's like a roast, like you roast everybody, the politicians. Oh. And there's clips of it in this documentary that is so fucking good. So good and funny. I don't know. You miss the times when politicians could do that to each other.
Now
when they're
so
Republican and Democrats.
It's so ugly now.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever go back.
No, we won't. I mean, you know who else was in the documentary? Dukakis, who I loved, who ran for president. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he's from Massachusetts. He was the governor, but he's good friends with Bulger. Okay, so during the 1960s, Bulger led efforts to write the first child abuse reporting laws in the state. He was supportive of environmental protection legislation. Bulger was among the first advocates of charter schools and public school choice. During the 1980s, he advocated funding for public libraries, the expansion of childhood nutrition services, and fuel assistance programs. As Senate President, Bulger led the debate on welfare reform in the early 1990s, with the resulting legislation becoming the model for a national law. Bulger was appointed president of the University of Massachusetts by the Board of Trustees on November 28th, 1995. This is after he left office. His candidacy for the UMass position was supported by Governor William Weld, but the appointment was controversial in academic circles as Bulger had no prior experience in higher education and lacked the academic doctoral degree usually required for the presidency of a major state university system. But, he left, he didn't run again, and so somebody was probably like, oh, we'll just give you this job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was so well known there. And a big part of that is getting money into the university, right? And which I'm sure he would be able to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so a little bit about Whitey, because it all kind of comes around to that, So Bulger's younger brother was James Whitey Bulger Jr. He was a convicted crime boss and multiple murderer, and the former boss of the Winter Hill Gang. So the Winter Hill Gang was a loose confederation of organized crime figures in the Boston, Massachusetts area. It is generally considered an Irish mob organization, with most gang members and the leadership consisting of predominantly of Irish Americans. Their activities...
Sorry. And his brother doesn't know that he's, like, killing people.
Right.
They just...
The family really was like... He's not that big of a deal. He's not that big of a boss. He wasn't doing that. It really was. They did talk about James Whitey, when he was younger. And, he was in and out. He was getting in trouble. His mom didn't know what to do. Like, just running the streets. But he was very charming and probably came home and was like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
They didn't really... I don't know.
I mean, because, heading a crime family, but the murder and stuff, you're letting this guy in your house and breaking bread with him and all the stuff, and he's killed people.
I mean, I'm sure I was just watching a documentary, I'll talk about it at the end, but on HBO, where I think families are very good at turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
Whether it's happening in the house or if it's happening out in the streets, you're very good at it. Sometimes it's, and you're Catholic.
Because you don't want to believe it.
And the Catholics are really good at that.
Yeah.
Let's just turn our way from this and not look at it.
Yeah.
And it's not happening. And maybe that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you watch those cases or watch all these people testify about how family members were murdered by this person, and you're still like, nah, I didn't do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's easy. You sleep better at night, I'm sure,
I guess.
So their activities included racketeering, fixing horse races, gambling, providing protection, dealing cocaine, lots of murders, and also providing guns to the IRA in Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big one. No one knew that Bulger and Stephen Flemmi, his number 2 guy, were both FBI informants, which is the big twist, right? That's the big twist with Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
And the story goes that their FBI handlers, John Connolly, who, according to the movie Black Mass, he grew up in these projects with Whitey Bulger. He becomes an FBI agent. He wants to use Whitey Bulger because he knows him. He convinces the FBI to allow him to see if he can bring Whitey Bulger on, because it wasn't about getting Whitey Bulger. It was about getting the Italian mob. The Martorano family, which
Always
was...
after the Italians.
Yeah. You know I'm Italian, yeah? Bitch, yes, I know. But they wanted to go after the Martorano family, which was the huge, big mob in Boston. And so they thought they would use a smaller fish, right? To get a bigger fish. And so they needed, and they couldn't break through to this Martorano family. They couldn't get a wire in. They couldn't get a person in. And so they're trying so hard to and this guy had that idea to use Whitey and get information from him. So that's what happened, right?
Wow.
But John Connolly, in hearing those tapes or getting information, also knew what Whitey was doing on his own, and they turned away from it. And they allowed murders to happen without conviction, without arresting. That was the big thing about the FBI. This John Connolly went away.
Yeah, you can't.
He got arrested. John Connolly and another FBI agent went away.
I was going to say, you can't, there's no way that you can just allow a murder to happen.
Right, which was what they were doing.
I mean,
they were hearing things on the tapes.
The second they're doing something bad, like, that's it.
No. It was never, it was, here's information, but also they would party with them.
What?
They would, and they were turning blind eye to things that they knew had happened. And they got in a lot of trouble for it.
Turning a blind eye to, like, a horse race, okay.
No, murder.
But murder?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Those people, I can't believe that those families wouldn't sue the hell out of the FBI.
I think they did. That's a whole other muck.
That's a whole
FBI agent going rogue like that?
Yeah.
It's a whole other muck. And then, but then also, once you're in it, how is Connolly going to get out? Right? Like, once he lets one thing go, he can never hold Whitey accountable for anything else. And that was the big thing with this case was, yes, he's an FBI informant, but also they're letting him get away with murder.
And how much info did they get from him?
They got a lot of good info from him.
Did?
Yeah, they were able to, like, get inside this Moderano family. They were able to put a wire in, and they were able to arrest many people from that family.
Wow.
I think even the head of the family, because of Whitey Bulger's information.
Wow.
I know. So he proved to be a good informant, but at what cost? Right?
I wonder how many people died under Connolly.
Right. That's the problem.
Wow.
That's the problem. So Connolly tips Whitey off that there's about a RICO charge about to come down for him. So he flees. He leaves Boston with his girlfriend. And he leaves in 1995, and he is on the run for 16 years. And he was on the FBI Most Wanted list for 16 years.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah. When they found him,
Holy cow.
He was in his 80s. He was arrested in June 2011.
Where was he?
He was in Santa Monica.
Wow.
On the beach.
Just chilling.
And
where's he getting money?
When he was arrested, they went into his, like, little apartment or motel room, whatever it was. He had $800,000 in cash in the walls. In the walls.
God dang it. Can I find one of these places with the money in the walls?
Yeah. I'd be like, we found $700,000 in the walls.
Found nothing in the walls.
There was nothing there. And then when Tina's fled, where'd Tina go? Oh my God. Yeah, dude. And you know how he was found is kind of funny because the girlfriend's in this documentary, and he would, like, help people if their tire was flat. He'd go over and help them, and, like, she said they never looked over their shoulders. Like, they never, like, I think they never thought they would get caught. But
he's not like, because you're not collecting Social Security. You don't have a bank account, so they can't trace you spending any money.
And every time they went out, they had big sunglasses and hats on, so it's not like their faces.
But still, if you're at the motel, like, how are you?
Yeah, so he was helping.
You still have to have your name.
There was a neighbor. There was everything's fake. They had a neighbor at the motel, a girl from Norway. She was Norwegian.
Yeah.
And she had a cat, and he was helping feed the cat. And she went back to Norway after her vacation was over and was watching, like, America's Most Wanted or whatever with the top 10 most wanted, because he was on the most wanted list. And she's like, oh, I know that guy, and calls the FBI, and that's how he was caught. Feeding the cat.
She was getting her cat fed by this guy, and you're going to rat him out.
What a fucking traitor. We know what happens to stool pigeons around her. Okay?
I mean, he is a murderer, so
I guess. Right. Damn it. God damn it. But wouldn't you be like, well, help me feed my cat?
I know.
How can he be a bad guy?
Yeah.
Anyway,
is it really him? You know, I feel like you look at those things and, like, wow.
Yeah.
Feeding a cat.
Yeah. And he comes home.
Deed goes unpunished.
He comes home and pleads guilty. You know, he comes home and pleads guilty. Like, he's like, all right. He wants the girlfriend to let go, although she serves some time for helping him. But anyway, so in 1999, Whitey's longtime aide, Kevin Weeks, who's also in the documentary and says that black mass is bullshit, but he pled guilty to a number of charges related to Whitey's crime spree and became a cooperating witness.
Well, there you go.
Weeks revealed that in 19...
He rats out his buddy. He gets some time shaved off.
That's right. That's what everybody did. Weeks revealed that in 1995, William talked to Whitey William, our friend, the state senator, talked to Whitey during an arranged phone conversation just 2 weeks after Whitey fled a pending racketeering indictment. That's not good. That don't look cool.
No, so that means you know where your brother is.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, right.
You didn't tell anybody that you talked to him. They could check those phone records. They could know where he is.
He was dodging it. He was like, what? I don't know. I don't know. When William testified before a grand jury in 2001, a federal prosecutor pressed him without success for information on his brother. And he said to him, quote, "So just to be clear, you felt more loyalty to your brother than you did to the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?"
Oh, get out of here. That's a stupid question.
And then Bulger replied, "I never thought about it that way, but I do have an honest loyalty to my brother, and I care about him. It's my hope that I'm never helpful to anyone against him. I don't have an obligation to help everyone catch him," end quote.
Ooh.
So... I don't know.
He's loyal to his brother. I mean, he's just basically like, I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to help him get out, but I'm also not going to help you.
Right. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair too. And when you watch, I keep bringing up the documentary, but I did just watch it yesterday.
But then he's a murderer.
Right.
I mean,
I thought this is Seinfeld. Remember he asked Kramer, if I was accused of murder, would you help me, would you stand up for me? And he goes, no. And he goes, you wouldn't? He goes, no. He goes, I thought we were friends. He goes, I thought I knew you. And you were a fucking murderer. I totally fucked that up. I'm so sorry. Anyway.
Oh, that's so funny.
When asked why he didn't urge Whitey to turn himself in, William replied that he, quote, didn't feel it was in his brother's best interest to give himself up at the time. Quote.
Wow.
He's a lawyer, after all.
Yeah.
After portions of Bulger's testimony were published in the Boston Globe, he testified to a congressional committee about the incident. So now he's in Congress on June 19th, 2003, after being granted immunity from prosecution for obstruction of justice.
Wow.
Bulger revealed that he went to an arranged location in 1995 to take a call from his fugitive brother, apparently to avoid electronic eavesdropping.
Wow.
But also, the FBI is following him, right? It's been 2 weeks, but the FBI is probably following him.
They know
totally eavesdropping.
Yes.
Totally tapping his phone. He claimed that not notifying authorities about the call was, quote, in no way inconsistent with my devotion to my own responsibilities, my public responsibilities, end quote, as state Senate president, which he was during the time.
Wow.
During the hearing, when asked about what he thought James Whitey did for a living, William Bulger said, quote, I had the feeling that he was in the business of gaming and whatever. It was vague to me that I didn't think for a long while he had some jobs, but ultimately it was clear that he was not being, he wasn't doing what I'd like him to do, end quote. So not really saying.
He's not saying anything. Yeah, he's not really.
I mean, he is master
at that. So
he's
kind of aware that he's playing around with gambling.
Yeah.
That's as far as it goes. He leaves out the drugs. He leaves out the murder.
Yeah.
He leaves out whatever the violence.
But meanwhile,
supplying guns, all of that. Jesus.
Right. And also, after this whole thing happened, every article in the paper was about him and his brother are now linked.
Yeah.
And that does suck. I do understand that does suck. He lived an honest life.
Does he step down after that?
Yeah. Let's get to that. So he added that he loved his brother and he hoped that the most brutal rumors concerning him would be proven false. Bulger came under harsh criticism for his apparent evasiveness, and Governor Mitt Romney, who was governor of Massachusetts at the time, among others, demanded his resignation as president of the University of Massachusetts. Under pressure from all quarters, Bulger resigned in the fall of 2003. Bulger also testified that the FBI never asked if he knew of Whitey's location. Those remarks were disputed by a former FBI agent who claimed Bulger declined to submit to an interview with the FBI. Months later, the committee report found Bulger's testimony, quote, inconsistent about whether the FBI had contacted him in search for his fugitive brother.
Wow.
Upon Whitey's arrest in California in June 2011, William Bulger issued a statement expressing his, quote, sympathies to the families that were hurt in the case and asking for privacy for his family.
Wow.
Yeah. So he steps down as the president of the university, and he is the past president of the Boston Public Library and past member of the Board of Trustees. This is all the things he's doing now afterwards. He was an overseer emeritus of the Boston Symphony Orchestra. In addition, he is a former member of the Massachusetts General Hospital Board of Trustees, Museum of Fine Arts Board of Trustees, and McLean Hospital Board of Trustees. He joined the faculties of Boston College and Suffolk University as a lecturer of political science in 2004. Oh, love to take that class with him. All right.
Wow.
Bulger lived in South Boston with Mary Foley, his wife, from who he married in 1960 until her death on June 7th, 2020. He and his wife have 9 children and 33 grandchildren.
Oh, the Irish.
Oh, yeah.
They know how to have them babies.
Yeah.
9 babies.
Yeah. According to the Massachusetts Open Checkbook list of state pensions, Bulger's pension from Massachusetts, I know you love this shit, from his position as University of Massachusetts president ranged from $198,000 to $201,000 for the years of 2011 to 2019.
Jesus.
Yeah, he made good money. So like I said, I watched this documentary on HBO right now. It's called My Name is Bulger. It's from 2021, so it's very recent. And he's in it, and he talks about his brother, and they talk about, and his kids are in it, which is so fucking good. And they say Black Mass. He's in his 80s. And they also say something that I do find very interesting, and because they're very anti-FBI. The kids, not so much the William Bulger, but his children are very much like the FBI made up these things about him that weren't true. You know, they said he was worse than he was, and they also talk about how William Bulger, you know, he admitted guilt and said, I'm done. Like he did not want to embarrass his family anymore, but also he wanted to let his girlfriend off from served some time, whatever. And then they transferred him to a prison in Pennsylvania that was supposed to be for his health for like a minute before he went to where he was supposed to go. And within 24 hours, he was murdered there. He was murdered in prison.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And it was shocking. Like he got a life sentence. Like he was going to die in prison anyway. But he was murdered there by a fellow inmate. And the family is suing. The estate of James Bulger is suing the corrections office, the state of Massachusetts, all these people to find out what the fuck happened. Like who put him there? Why was he there? They think he was put there specifically to be murdered.
Wow.
It's like one of the toughest prisons around. And there's a lot of speculation of like, why did that happen? And I agree. I agree.
When did this happen?
So he was killed in 2018.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he's was spent all those years on the lam.
Yeah. And he was, so he was, what? Let's see. He was 89 years old.
Wow. Imagine
it just seems
89 getting murdered in prison. That's just odd. Like what inmate is going after an 89-year-old?
Yeah. But it just seems very...
Unless it's like for some kind of cred, you know? Like
right. Maybe. But also... And I think the family has a reason to be suspicious. I'd also be suspicious, you know? Weird. And we have to also remember, like, they try very hard to say, like, no disrespect to the victims.
Right.
Because there's plenty here.
Yeah, I'm curious how many murders he's associated with. Jesus.
Or even the people who worked for him who they were associated with, you know? I mean, but they say, you know, they do know him as their uncle. And he was a good guy to them.
Yeah,
so
they see one side of him.
Yeah.
But isn't that like what a sociopath is too?
Yeah.
Like you know, like you know how to put on a face for your family. Oh God.
I know.
I gotta watch that movie.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good.
All right.
Yes, so that's William Bulger.
A good story.
I mean, you know, we always love these guys who fight for the fight. Like it seems like that's what he was about, and he was beloved. William Bulger has been beloved there.
Yeah, and now he's like.
And then which sucks because he worked his whole life to do good things.
Yeah. And I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, he took one phone call.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's his brother, and he said, look, he didn't mince words. Look, I'm loyal. Yeah. I'm loyal to my brother.
Wow.
I mean, can't fault him for that.
And he never went to jail because he testified. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was watching Black Mass. Within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, excuse me, what the fuck? Who's that? Who? And I had to pause it and look it up. I'm like, this is wild to me.
It's crazy.
It's like finding out John Gotti's got a fucking brother who's a state senator who nobody gives a fuck. They keep electing this person. Wow. Like they don't even associate because they must have, and they just knew him so well.
Yeah.
And that even his colleagues were like, yeah, we knew his brother was like, would get arrested and had some trouble, but it was never ever. Like if you talked about Bulger up until before his brother ran, like the only Bulger everybody in the state knew was William Bulger.
Wow.
And then just like that, it's like, there's this other Bulger.
That's crazy. So good.
Right? Yes. Oh my God, I fucking love it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm watching, I might have fallen asleep about the last few minutes of it, but I'm watching this documentary on HBO. It's called Great Photo, Lovely Family, Facing a Family's Secrets. Oh. So this young woman, she's got to be in her 20s, is a photojournalist, and she goes all over the world taking pictures or whatever, but she starts talking about her family and how fucked up her family is. And the reason is because grandpa is a pedophile. Okay? And how it was never talked about. But this motherfucker molested her mother, her sister, like dozens and dozens and dozens of girls as a chiropractor, like little girls. And they're interviewing him. He does pass away during the documentary, but...
Was he in jail?
No. He went to jail one time. One person actually pressed charges. Everybody else was just like, let's get away. Like, they'd move him, right? They'd move. And he talked about how they all loved it. I was doing things, but the girls loved it. These girls loved it. Like, and the mother's sitting right next to him. And he was married, and the mother did nothing. The wife did nothing. And so the mother, listen, and I'm saying this with peace and love, okay? But his daughter, who he molested, and her mother, who knew, has her own children. And at one point, she's struggling because she's going through a divorce, and she needs to get a job, and she can't take care of her daughter. And she asked her mother if the daughter can come, little girl. I mean, she must have been 5 or 6 when she went to live with them.
Why would she
could go live with her parents?
Why?
And says to her mother, I need you to watch out for her. I need you to take care of Ange. Make sure you take care of her. You know what I mean? Yes. I'll it's an unmentioned thing that gotta keep it away from the goddaughter, away from grandpa, because he's a fucking molester. Well, grandma slept on that job, and he's molesting this granddaughter over and over and over again. And now the granddaughter, of course, is grown up, and it's dark. And
but why the hell
she doesn't have a good relationship with the mother?
I don't care what would happen.
Girl,
I wouldn't send my daughter
You should hear
into
this
that
mother
house.
spinning a tale. So they show so they sit down, because the mother and the daughter don't have a great relationship. There's this other daughter, right? The one who's doing this. They're all. She's got a sister who was not molested, but knows the grandpa's fucked and was handsy, and Ange doesn't tell the mother all of her feelings about it because she blames her mom.
Well,
and but the mother only blames the grandfather and the grandmother because she was. I told her to make sure.
No, you don't send your daughter into the lion's den, man.
It's so fucked up. And so the daughter she says to her mom, like, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Like, she's looking at her and she's like, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, he hurt me.
But
I can get past that. But what I can't get past is the other side. And she looks at her mother and she's like, why did you send me there? And the mother goes through this laundry list of how she has clearly justified what happened in her mind, that it wasn't her fault, and says, listen, I was getting a divorce and I was poor. I need to get a job. I need to help with you. I couldn't afford daycare, and I needed to send. And the daughter goes, all I'm hearing are a bunch of excuses about how bad it was for you.
Right.
And the mother doesn't know what to say. The next thing there's a scene the next morning. The mother sends an email to the other daughter, the one making the documentary, and says, I can't be associated with this, and I'm not being heard, and I've bent over backwards for this family, and I've done enough of my life, and I was like, holy girl,
you got to take some blame here. Why would you send
I have to
your baby
say,
in that?
the lessons as parents that we need to learn from our parents is that when our children come to us, which they will, it's inevitable. Mm-hmm. And they say to us,
you fucked up.
Here's this thing now I'm still fucked up because of this thing or whatever. Yeah. As a parent, our jobs are not to deflect that. Our jobs are not to say, well...
It's to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Here's all the people whose fault it was, and you don't understand the time or whatever. No, it's to stop, to listen, to really listen, and to accept the blame.
Yeah.
Because we were the adults, and we are the ones who are in charge, and could have stopped it, and stopped making fucking excuses, and accept and love that child. Why is that so hard to do? It's not hard to do. Listen, I've been through divorce. I know how fucking hard it is. I'm sure there are situations that I don't think were bad that might come back.
Right.
Or say, this is when the bottom fell out, Mom, and I I don't, I've done my best. We both have done our best, right? With my ex-husband and I, we've done our best. But I'm sure there are moments, and when they come to me and they say things, which they have, I go, here's where I could have done better, and from now on, I'm going to make sure that happens. And I accept them, and I make them feel safe. That's what our job is. Even if they're 50, our job is to make them feel safe and loved. And acknowledge that the bad thing happened.
Right.
Acknowledge that it happened. Because when you don't, they feel like children again. You make them feel less than. I don't know. I am blown away by this, but the mother more than anything.
Oh,
the mother more than anything. That. If you suffer abuse by somebody, why would you ever put them back, their kid back, your own kid?
No way.
You
would never bring your kid around that person
it's
ever.
Absolutely stunning, this documentary. It's absolutely stunning. I definitely fell asleep the last 10 minutes because I have to go back and see how they resolved it. But it costs nothing, and it takes a lot, but it costs nothing to listen and to accept it, and just accept it, to give that other person, your child, their due. Like, I don't know. It's heavy.
That sounds it.
Wow.
Jeez.
We're really kicking off this year with
well, it's going to be Happy New Year when you guys tune in. So hopefully you had a great end of 2023.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
We're going to have a fun New Year's.
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And then, 2024. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I'm not ready.
I don't think I'm ready either.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
This year's stressing me out already.
Yeah, no.
Just the elections and just local elections, state elections.
I know. How about this? How about we celebrate this?
Oh,
in the state of Florida, we have enough petitions.
Oh, yeah,
to get abortion on the ballot.
Woo! And let's hope Ashley Moody doesn't fuck it all up.
Well, we'll see. She's trying to get the Supreme Court to throw it out.
Yeah.
And she's also trying the marijuana being put back on the ballot again is also have enough petitions. So, that would be a great 2024 to have those things on the ballot.
My God.
And let the people
have
their voices heard.
The people already voted for the marijuana one before, though.
Yes, but we're doing it again.
We're doing it again. My God.
We were high and we forgot that we already did it, but we're going to do it again.
Oh, my God. And now, abortion on the ballot. I am so curious if this gets on the ballot, how it's going to turn out for the state.
Well, I think it'll be overwhelming. I think it'll pass. And I absolutely believe that. A good quarter of those petitions were signed by Republicans.
It's just true.
So I really believe that would be the case. I do.
And the thing is, if a Republican is signing that, why are you voting for the people you're voting for? You know what I mean? If this is an issue that matters to you, why are you voting the way that you're voting? I'm kind of sickened by it all, and I'm more and more frightened. I don't know. And I know maybe I'm being over dramatic about it, but this year I'm going into 2024. I'm just very apprehensive.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous, and I am very scared because I think no matter who wins or loses, there's going to be a greater divide in our country. But if Trump is the lead and he wins, I'm really afraid.
I feel the same fear that I had going into 2016, and knowing that if Trump got reelected, how bad it was going to be. I feel amplified. That, but it's times 10. Yeah, it's I have that fear times 10. I'm trying to not get. I don't want to really feel it until October, because there's a lot going to happen before that we have to get through. And so if we're only focusing on that election, I haven't seen Trump in the news a lot lately in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I know in 24 it's going to amp up. But I really feel like we've got to get through the Florida session.
Yeah.
Let's get through March and then see where that's where we land there.
Me out alone.
It's very Yeah, that's enough. Let's take the stress in blocks, because I think we can start getting really probably August, September. We can really start to feel that presidential election. And and by the way, anything can happen between now and then. Literally anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
And
Ooh, we gotta get people. I mean, just registered to vote in Florida.
Yeah,
get them back on the rolls. You know, let's start there.
I'm gonna bring that up at the next podcast, okay? Because the numbers that have come out because the Republicans, it's specifically because of this one bill they passed last session, that they are dumping people off the mail-in ballot rolls, and 80 to 90% of them are Democrats, because that's how Democrats vote, and they know it. That's why they made the bill that way. Yeah. So, and there's Democrats that don't know right now. In Blue Broward, 85% of them were dropped, and they don't know it.
They have no idea.
And it's a big problem. It's big problem. And there was no supervisor of elections in the state of Florida in any single county that was about this bill. They hate it. They didn't want it to happen. Republicans, and there's mostly Republicans as supervisors of elections in these counties. And they were all against it. There's a reason for that.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Like, there's got to be some kind of lawsuit that's going to come from this, too. You know what I mean? Like, unconstitutional. Well.
Well, I tried to end on a happy note, and here we are again.
Here's to a good 2024. Let's hope that all our dreams come
true. What is one good thing you want to happen in 2024?
One good thing. I would like to see some people in our local elections keep their seats.
Oh, fucking yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's like
that would make me happy.
And I would really love to see some equity in like voting. I wish that they could just like get rid of the gerrymandering. Yeah. I wish that they could just bring in some objective, hell, use AI. You know what I mean? Like, plug in some information and just, like, spit out districts that way. Like, there's got to be an algorithm that they can use that makes it fair and equal and, like, be done with it. I would love to see that.
Agree.
You know, like, can we start there? AI is objective.
You know I don't like this AI.
I don't like it either, but you could spit in the information and it could just map out districts for you.
I get it. Like, that sounds great. And there's other things what I saw with AI that I thought was pretty good, but I just feel like you can't use it just for these specific things, because there's always going to be people using it for evil.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, but everything's used for evil.
Even me. I'm used for evil. Satan is my bestie.
Oh.
That's a devil laugh. That's how the devil laughs. That's what he sounds like. Or she sounds like. Okay, well, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
And bye!
Bye!